Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my channel, 8:19 a.m. It is August 6th. Now, yesterday, we finally had a little bit of a pullback. It was just a matter of time. It wasn't that big of a deal. We didn't even hit the 50% retracement of the previous day in the S&P 500. Yesterday, we closed around the midpoint of the previous day in the Nasdaq. Nasdaq was relatively weaker yesterday. Okay. Now this morning, we're gapping down in the Nasdaq and the NQ because of SanDisk and Western Digital, and memory stocks are down. Okay, so Micron's down over 5%, SanDisk's down almost 11%, or it is over 11% now. DRAM ETF, the memory stock ETF, is down over 7%. SK Hynix is down 7%. South Korean market down over 4%. So a lot of that poor structure I talked about yesterday is almost totally cleaned up from the NQ, but not in the ES. The ES is holding up. Okay. Now, a bunch of stocks have hit the expected moves to the upside, along with QQQ, along with the SPY and the SPX. Okay. Remember, I said if it hangs around those levels, I would expect a pullback to come. But in the indexes, it did blow through it. However, if we get another pullback, we could find ourselves closing within the expected move. But we'll have to see, right? We definitely have to see. All right. Give me one sec here. Okay. Now, as far as myself, I have not taken a trade this week. Now, very rare for me to be on a 3 days and not a trade, or 3 days and not even like almost close to take. I wasn't even close to taking a trade. Yesterday was the first day I actually got to watch a market that I was gonna maybe trade. The previous 2 days were trend days that literally just there was no setup. Right now, don't get me wrong. Yesterday, I was thinking, okay, this could be the short. This could be the short. But I didn't get a setup, and then it just fell, and then it just died, and then there was no point for myself. I was like, okay, it's died, right? I was looking to go short, but it just ranged forever. So that brings us to today, all right? And let's just get right into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steve Gonzalez. I use market profile and bond profile to find structure in the markets. On supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the month, the week, the month, the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. That's how I come up with game plans. Now, once that market opens up, I want to see where money flows are going off the open. Okay, with my market internals. Also, a little ICT, Anchor VWAPs, my weekly expected move indicator for Thinkorswim that I give away for free on my Discord, along with my gamma flip points that I give away for free on my Discord as well. Okay, all wrapped up. I have my own proprietary trading system. Alrighty. Now, hopefully you join me every morning. Subscribe to that alert, give you the market news, the economic calendar, technical analysis, and always give you the long and short trade scenarios in the NASDAQ and ES futures later on in the stream. If you want more in-depth coverage, you can join my Discord. It's Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. All right. Today I should be going live around 9:45 a.m. Hopefully you guys join me. Hopefully you join me. All right. Now, let's get right into futures watch list here. I didn't mean to hit that. All right, here we go. Oh, so your VIX is up 1.20%. Crude is up 1.14%. 10-year yields up 0.82. Gold up 0.31. Dow's up 0.25. ES up 0.13. Dollar is up 0.07. Russell is flat. 30-year bonds are down 0.31. Silver is down over 0.5%. Bitcoin down 0.5%. Nasdaq's down over 0.5%. Ethereum down over 0.60%. All right, let's go to the Mag 7 Plus list here. Nvidia is up 1%. Apple's up 1%. JP Morgan up 0.91. Eli Lilly had good earnings, up 0.87. Laggards. Google down 0.5%. They lost their main AI scientist or something like that. He's starting his own company. So that took Google down yesterday. Microsoft down 0.71, AMD down 1.19, Intel down 1.62, and Micron down 4.81%. Moving on. Exxon is up 1%. Walmart up 1%. Costco up 8.85. So some staples getting some love this morning. Who's down today? Palantir down 1.85%. Oracle down 2.86%. Salesforce down 4.58%. Software is getting hit this morning. Okay? Software is getting hit this morning. Moving on to sectors. Alrighty. Sectors, we have energy leading the pack, up 1.10%, followed by utilities. This is all safety plays. Healthcare up 0.63, staples up 0.60, financials up 0.48, and semis down 0.18, and technology down almost 1%. Okay. Where tech goes, the market usually goes. ES is holding on by a thread here. Okay. Now, I'm going to introduce now more often than not my other list here. Let's go to it. I have to set up a new thing in my OBS here to really just pull it up. But okay, it's another list I look at for pockets of the market. SpaceX up 2%. Okay, the MAGS ETF, MAG 7 ETF is flat, right? And then what else do we have here? Software down, IGV, right? Almost 3%. Bloom Energy down 3%. ServiceNow down 3%. EWY is the South Korean market, down almost 4%. SK Hynix down big time, over 6.5%. DRAM almost down 7%. And SanDisk, you can see, down 10%. So that shows me the new pockets in the market that we have to pay attention to. Okay? All right. I think we can move on. Let me just hold on a second. Boom. Okay. And we're going to go right to the economic calendar here. We're economic calendar light today. Initial, what do we got today? Initial jobless claims haven't mattered much. Okay. Fed, let's go to a 1-star here just to see if there's anything. 30-year mortgage at 12 p.m. There's really nothing here. Okay. That you have to worry about. Let's just look at earnings. All right. So let's see. After the close yesterday was SanDisk, Western Digital, AppLovin. All three of these are down. AppLovin as well. Okay. AppLovin as well. This morning, ConocoPhillips is energy stocks. ConocoPhillips, D-Wave, that's quantum computing. I didn't really see what Rigetti, what is it? Rigetti, D-Wave, and IonQ. I didn't see what they did. I probably could put that on the list as well, but you know what? Let me just look at that real quick. Okay, so they must have had good earnings because IonQ is up this morning. Quantum computing. Okay. Datadog, cybersecurity. They report before the open this morning as well. Celsius, the drink. Today after the close, DraftKings, Airbnb, Rigetti, that's also quantum computing, Trade Desk, and MP Materials. Okay. Back to here. Really, it's all about the AppLovin, Western Digital, SanDisk are down. That's pushing down the NASDAQ. Okay. We still don't have a deal for the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, that's crude's up. That's what's going on this morning. Let's see if there's a roundup. They haven't gave me a roundup in a while here. Let's see if we have it. See, Datadog sinks 21%. Okay, so Datadog and the Kospi's down. The South Korean market, I already talked about that. Yeah, that's all we really need to go over there. Let's see Trump's schedule today. All closed press. So I don't see anything special here. The juice, Let's see, what do we have? Stock struggled for direction and weakness in the tech sector, with investors awaiting developments in U.S.-Iran talks, looking ahead to Friday's key U.S. job reports. Okay. Like I said, very light on data today. And this thing has not been updating until later, so that doesn't not give me the current news. So we're going to move on to, let's go to some breadth. Let's check in with the breadth. All right. Breadth went down a little bit, 65% over the 20-day moving average. Let's go to 50. Jesus. Okay. 66% over the 50-day moving average, 60% of stocks. And we'll just look at this bullish percent index at the S&P 500. Ooh, look at that from yesterday. Even though the market closed slightly lower, we are 70% on buy signals. This is getting very frothy. Okay. Look at other times when we reach this level. Okay, this is very important to look at. Okay. Doesn't mean you short. It just means, okay, let's see the NASDAQ 100. Look at that. Even though the NASDAQ pulled back, remember, this is the NASDAQ 100, but this is using equal weight, right? It's not going on market cap weight. We're at 73%. Look at that. We have not been here. Let's see. Let's go back 3 years. The last time we were here was around July 2025. Wow. 73% of the NASDAQ 100 stocks are on buy signals. Be very careful. Okay. Let's look at Infotech. Drill one more step into there. Okay. Let's look at this chart. 81% on buy signals. 81% on buy signals. Look at this line, goes across. That is not usually sustainable. And guess what? Tech is already gapping down today. So you don't have to just go all the way back down, but it's just to be on notice. Okay. Even the overall market's at 70%. So that's why we check this out. Okay. It's data points. I don't look at it like, oh, I got a short now. No, I don't look at it like that. I just look at it like, okay, we just had a big move. We're over the weekly expected moves in a lot of key stocks. That's just a data point. Now, I wasn't always able to do that. Okay, to look at it like a data point. I would be foaming at the mouth to short. All right, let's look at the market internals. Okay, yesterday. Now, we started out like neutral, right? And then the market just got weak and we dropped. This is why this right here was just like, okay. And when we dropped, it was just kind of a trend. And I'm not really a guy who just shorts these pops. All right. I like to get a bigger move. These are little pullbacks, right? If you're a scalper, this is like, if that's your system, that's probably a lot easier, but I'm not a scalper. Okay. So, and then this was disgusting, right? And this just showed the weakness, right? Every top sector was red off the open. However, these levels over here were not that bad, okay? S&P 500 ADD was only minus 11. That's neutral. Exchange level, these are not bad numbers, okay? Even the ratio, that's only 1 to 1. Your markets are not going to fall apart. S&P 500 is not going to fall apart with those kind of numbers. It's just not. Okay? We didn't even hit the previous day's midpoint. So this was not, you can't look at markets like, ooh, red candles, bad, damn, wow, that's huge. No, we really didn't do anything sufficient yesterday. Okay? NASDAQ, yes, that's a different story, right? NASDAQ had a little worse of a day. All right, moving on. Let's look at the daily charts now. All right, so let's look at this daily charts now. Okay. So we finally had a down, not a down day, even though it was down before yesterday's close, right? So it was a minus day, right? There's the close of the previous day. We closed here, right? You're bound to get this. I mean, you don't go up forever, right? So we finally got a pullback. Okay. What are we now? 770 90s. 770 90s. We are at the lows of yesterday. So for right now, you look at that as slightly a little feather in the cap for the bears. Now, if we look at the Nasdaq, I'm sorry, Nasdaq futures, why am I there? ES futures. Okay. ES futures, look, all-time highs. Now you have a nice, this could be turned into a swing high, possibly. Okay, got a little doji. Right now, we're not doing much in the ES at all. You'll see the difference in the Nasdaq, but ES is just not doing much. Okay. Now this, like I said, that's a pretty nice candle. That could be a swing high for us to possibly pull back. Who knows where? Okay. Qs. Right? What did the Qs go into yesterday? Daily supply zone. You see what I'm talking about? Came in there yesterday, right here, and has a hard time. Okay, remember that level? I talked about the 725, 726 level. That was where it had problems. Also, that was the 30,050s, right around the 30,000 level in Nasdaq. I said that was part of my pre-market scenario. We had problems there, and we did, right? But I just didn't have a setup. That's what sometimes stinks is like, whoa, those setups worked, but that really wasn't a trade setup for me. I didn't really have my model of how I like to enter to get into the trade. Okay. So look, we're almost coming back to the expected move to the upside on the QQQ. We're coming down to the 50 now. This is what's important. We are gapping down, right? So let's see where we're at. 713.50s. Look at that. We're below the expected move. So now, when you really go away from it and you keep going, that's where it's like, whoa, this is crazy. But guess what, folks? We are below it now. Okay, so it's crazy how these expected moves work, but it's pretty crazy. Now, like I said, if the market does this and that's like, okay, this wasn't priced in, and you get a follow through, oh, it could really run. But look what's happening. We're coming back in, right? It's just crazy how this works. Now, let's look at the Nasdaq futures. Look at that. Look at that daily supply zone here. Held to the tick almost, right? And now look, could that be a swing high? We're below the 50-day moving average now. And what do we have? We got a lot of poor structure out of the way in the Nasdaq already. We'll get into that in the hourly charts, okay? Unbelievable. Nasdaq is, look at all this trading. Okay, we came in there and we couldn't bust out of it. And then you have the memory stocks down. So let's see. Very interesting today. Okay, very interesting today. Let's get onto the hourly charts now. And let's look at that ES together. ES is doing absolutely nothing. So here's our hourlies. Okay, if we're going to look at this like this, right? And it's very, very simple. Just get my marker. Whenever that comes up. Where the heck is it? Oh, did I not hit it? Thought I hit it. All right, here we go. All right, so ES, right? Now, I did put an anchored view up on this big candle here. guess where the market is? Holding. So this represents those buyers, right? So obviously you lose this consolidation. This could take down all this poor structure. Remember I talked about this toothpick holding up the elephant, right? Good old Elfie right here. Okay. NASDAQ is different. It's taking care of that toothpick a little bit. Okay. Now, what happened yesterday? Well, 77.66s became the most traded price of the week. So bulls did their job. They moved. They had price bring up value, or value follow price. That is bullish. Okay. That is a little feather in the cap for bulls. However, look at this sideways. We are going to break out of this, folks. That is many hours, many hours of nothing. So this is just coiling up for a big move. Now we have overhead supply now. We have some supply here. And what do we have below? Very poor structure. Okay. So what do we do? So the bull bear line, let's just call it 77.70 area. Okay. Above there, you got to be bullish. Below there, you could fall. Okay. And reset this market to go, all right, this was a little bit too much. We'll see. You never know. If it's supportive, then it's bullish. It's all you really can do in these markets. Okay. All right, let's look at the NASDAQ and look at the difference in the NASDAQ here. All this poor structure, right? All of that has been taken care of. And in the ES, it has not. Now look where you found support at the month-to-date, week-to-date anchor VWAP, right? Support into a bullish for value gap. It is one of the last ones to take away all of that move. Okay? We are in ultimate balance around the 289.845.50 area. Remember I talked about that yesterday. Below this is bearish. And look what happened. It just kept hitting it, and then boom. And then when you lost 297s, like I said yesterday, 297 would be the last, and then it lost it. Okay? Now, could this be a pullback that you buy? Maybe. Maybe. Okay? I don't know. All right, because now you have like a pullback that could be bought, and then maybe it's off to the races. Maybe we continue to move higher. I don't know, right? So very interesting. Now the ES is holding up. Let's see. Right now, buyers are still in control of this month and this week for the Nasdaq, even with this pullback. So be very interesting what happens here. Moving on. Market profile, volume profile. All right, so let's go over to market profile, volume profile. Okay. Got a real baby session here. That is a very small session. 22 points. The previous was 48, right? This is a 129 point range. Yesterday's was 74. Okay. This is a very squat profile with a prominent POC. It's very balanced. Okay. Hence all of that trading, right? That we talked about. Okay. So let's get into scenarios, long and short trade scenarios in the ES. Okay. Let's break out the session. We already know it's been sideways. All right. It's not doing anything. It's just coiling. So there's going to be a move. There's going to be a move. You just don't continue this. Okay. Now, what do we have? Remember, elephant on toothpick is in effect. Elephant on the toothpick is in effect. All of this below is very, look at that thin volume. There's not a lot of support there. Okay. Like I said, in the past, I would be like, oh my God, I want to short so bad. I just know it's a data point and I have to see strong selling. And if there is, you're just going to keep chewing all that up and it's going to be like, oh boy, right? So what do we look at here? We're not gapping down for once or gapping up, which you've been doing almost every day, right? NASDAQ is though, right? So how do we play this? Well, the 7770s is the area that you want to focus on, okay? That's the area. That's the area you want to focus on. Above that area is bullish. Below it is bearish. Simple as that. So, a couple things here. Okay, bulls still have momentum. So, if I'm going to look for a long, couple ways you can play this. Simple, simple, simple. If we come down, take out the overnight lows, take out yesterday's lows into this bullish for value gap, right? And let's say it holds. You get a sweepy. You put in a higher low. You go long. Okay? You could take one off at the 7770s, right? If it pulls back to the 7770s, hold on to that puppy, okay? And see if you can go up higher, possibly to yesterday's highs. Very simple. Okay? One more. Let's say you want to be conservative. Well, wait for 7770 to be taken and we find acceptance. Retest 7770. That's your long. Okay? It's as simple as it gets. Shorties. Okay? Same. Not the same, but we're going to play the 7770s, right? If the market comes in here, right, and you're like this, oh, just took out the overnight highs, right? But come back under the 7770s, but retest 7770s, and the market is like, uh-oh, people are taking money out of tech. There's your short. You target yesterday's lows, the 7745s, okay? And then this could just crater, okay? If money flows are coming out, remember, the energy is coiled here. Most trader prices of the week of yesterday and the week are here. This can just cascade bad and go to try to fill that gap, okay? This would be a runner because it's just probably not going to fall straight. But this could be very, very nasty. Okay? Very, very nasty. Now, could we range again? Sure. Okay? One target might be this to watch for is the midpoint 77.21 of that big day. And then month to date, week to date anchored VWAP, the 77.06. Okay? Now let's look at the NASDAQ real quick. Okay. NASDAQ's gapping down. Now look at all these high volume nodes that were very important in the structure, right? I said if you lose the 29845s, that's bearish. You lost it. I said it's even more bearish if you lose the 297s. You lost it. Here we go. Bouncing off the month to date, week to date anchor VWAP into the bullish for value gap. You have an unfilled gap below us as well with a ton of demand. Okay. Let's break out the session, get into scenarios here. All right. So let's get into a long very quickly here. Okay. If we take out the overnight low, 29364, there's a high volume node here at 293s. I want to see 293s kind of hold. It could go through it temporarily, right? You know, like I said. So a couple things here. 293. So let's say even we pull down and take out the 29208s, that would be what I think Monday's lows or Tuesday's lows. Okay. And you come across the 293s, hold 293s. That's a long target to 297s. Okay. Target to 297s. That could be a pullback that's viable if tech is strong. Okay. kind of what I'm looking for right now. I don't like longs up in here at all. So on the short side, okay, you do have supply here. You are under the 297s. Okay, so what I would think here is any push up into the 297s and cannot find acceptance above it, come under it to retest 297s. That's a short. Target overnight lows 293s, and then the 29 yeah, you target the 29364s overnight lows, then the 293s, and oh boy, take out the rest of that poor structure, and then you have an unfilled gap. Man, can you fill that unfilled gap? I don't know. Around the 28965s. I don't know. Okay. Right now, that's probably all I'm interested in. All right. So, to recap, ES is coiled up, right? Waiting for a move. Remember, 7760s, or 70s, I'm sorry. 7770s is your bull bear line. Poor structure below. We are going to get a move. Okay, we are going to get a move. Just don't know what it is going to be. All right, NASDAQ, we are gapping down. So, very important level is the gap fill. So, gap fill is your 29529s. Okay, but there's so much overhead supply. That's why I gave you the long and the short based on those levels. Okay, under 297 is pretty bearish. Okay, 293s, you lose that, it's pretty bearish too. Okay, maybe we just range in here and say, I don't know. You really have to see how things shake out. All right, that's it for me today, folks. Smash the like button if you enjoyed that analysis. That would mean a lot to me. Okay, and as always, please join me every morning. Subscribe, set that alert, give you the market news, technical analysis, and I just gave you the long, short trade scenarios in the NASDAQ and the ES futures. Okay. Now, if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. I should be going live around 9:45 a.m. Hopefully you join me. Now we have our plan. Hopefully you have your plan. Remember, no trade's a trade. Everybody have a great day. If I don't see you on my Discord, I'll see you.